So the question that Gartner posed was, can IT meet the speed and efficiency of the public cloud in 2012 with security? And what I want to introduce you here is this concept that Interoute has, a thing called the virtual data center, where we've taken elastic computing and we've literally built it into the network. So you've got an AWS-like experience, but it's in the construct of your existing IT infrastructure. So it's something that's very familiar to you. What we've done is we've built it into the MPLS infrastructure, so it takes the same trust and security you've had and then allows you to then build out in the same way. So you don't have any of the challenges of the public cloud, which is a separate cloud connectivity island. What you've got here is literally IT resources within your existing IT infrastructure, which is something when we explain it to customers and you see within their existing lands, within their existing numbered lands, you see things popping up, is a remarkable thing. It's the network that makes it public or private, not the computing, right? This is equally scalable for a public platform as it is for a private platform. What makes it secure is the fact that you don't need to isolate it behind firewalls, IDSs and IPSs. It's inherently secure because the network is inherently secure. You're at a layer below where someone can spoof. So you've isolated your computing in the same way you would do and have done for the last 10 years. What we do also is we build it out throughout the network. So you can not only say, I want my data to stay in Europe, you can say, I want it to stay in London, right? Or Amsterdam, or Geneva. You can place it there, it will always stay there, it will not move. We won't say, oh, in the case of something going wrong, we might whip it off to North America for a short period of time. That ain't going to happen. Your data stays where it is. These are resilient locations. So we've literally built it into the network in the same way we build out networks. And key to this, because Interoute can, we don't charge for ins and outs. We don't charge for data transfer. You could build two virtual data centers, one in Amsterdam, one in Geneva, and you could build another one in London. And then you could have them in real time as an active-active, exchanging data as much as you like. And there will be no charge for it. Why? Because we can. Because of the size of the network, because of the scale of the infrastructure. That's what we're saying is the network is the computer. And therefore, I'm not going to charge you in the same way Intel doesn't charge you for the amount of ins and outs you have on their I/O, neither does Interoute. So it's simple to buy, as you would expect. You can select a package and location. You have the typical utility models. You can name it whatever you like. You agree the terms, and it's created by the time you get there. To give you an example how fast we can create within your private infrastructure, I was giving a presentation on a Windows machine, not my preferred platform, and the machine crashed. I said, I'll walk to my office and get myself a Mac. In the time it took to walk, and Interoute's not that big a building, someone had said, I'll spin you one up. They spun one up and we did it from there. It's very, very agile, and it is right in the heart of your IT infrastructure. Once you've created it, you can order, you can create, you can deploy. Bear in mind it's a virtual data center, so you've got a pool of resources that you can customize any which way you choose. So if you've got your own IT organization, you can have your standard builds, which means that you can then decide what people use for certain types of applications. So you can control a community, you can control the way in which applications are used. And key for this, Interoute realizes, we're kind of moving into a semi-defined market. Not only can you integrate, but you can migrate. Interoute is firmly a believer in understanding that we own the architecture, we own how this thing works. And so we've subscribed to things like OVF in terms of a mechanism, but moreover, we can migrate your own numbering schemes over, your own networking schemes over. So we can migrate from your private cloud into this. All it does is save you money. It rationalizes costs. You can match consumption to budget, and then you future-proofed your internal IT. So this is not a question of whether, oh, well, if I do that, then I've lost control. You're just simply moving your cost base. It is not a performance issue, it's a cost issue. And we're hypervisor agnostic. So we're not signing up to anyone's view of the world in terms of how it should be. Interoute is firmly vendor agnostic when we think about architectures, as I think most healthy service providers are. It's real and it's not emulated IT. You can take a model, say take the classic access application, database and web server model, and you can build out your IT in the same way. So it's a real firewall, it's a real load balancer. And you can build it out and you can migrate it and you can manage it as you would your existing IT. We're not asking you to say, ooh, let me take 6 months to get my head around how these guys articulate what a load balancer is or what a firewall really is. What we're talking about here is the ability to really move things over very rapidly. Migration and movement are key, because if we don't make it easy for you, people will simply not move, and that's why you've got to think about these things. And the other thing, which is really an area which is going to be possibly the most exciting going forward, is this idea of a marketplace, an app store. The enterprise app store is the easiest way to think about it. Now, we've built the obvious things. Think about Interoute as your classic supermarket. Meat, veg, cheese, all the things you'd expect us to do. But sometimes you want that particular biscuit, right? In this case, it may be a security application. God knows there's a lot of them. There's lots of different applications. We have databases, database as a service, Exchange Cloud. But moreover, we see this as a vehicle which is really going to change the way in which you consume IT. You're no longer going to be sitting there saying, well, I could buy that box or that box or that box. You're going to say, in the same way you sit there now, and it's only taken a short 2 or 3 year period to try an app. Oh, well, I'll give that one a go. Let's see what that, oh, what's that do? Like I said, cyber threat management, or a virtual desktop management platform. These things you can try. Oh, I'll give that a go. I like that. I'll deploy it, because you've got so much more control. If you think about it in the real data center world, it's just hard, right? You've got physical asset, it's wired up in a certain way, you've got to maintain the records, you've got to make sure everything is where it should be. In this world, you've got a far more flexible, you have constantly a complete view. So, we believe, as you expect us to, we've refined what this class should be. Or at least what we're saying is that you should really think about cloud computing not in how it's been instantiated, not in the environment you find it in, but in how you want to use it. Be it in a public web present space, or be it in a private, secure IT way. The network is finally the computer, right? It always has been, it's just taken an awfully long time. If you talk to the likes of Google and Amazon and these guys, clearly that's how they use it, right? It's just for the IT manager, for the guy who's got security and compliance issues, he's never been able to take advantage of that because he's simply not able to. And now finally you can speed up IT evolution internally, where you can take advantage of all those innovations that have occurred elsewhere, but do it in a secure and compliant way. It's future-proofed and scalable simply because we're that big, right? So the objections and compromises, we believe, have finally been eliminated as to why you wouldn't do cloud computing. So we would dearly love to hear from people who say, yeah, I like the idea of cloud computing, but, right? It's those buts we want to get rid of. We saw the same with network 10 years ago when we brought out this thing called MPLS. People go, yeah, but, right? Is it secure? That's all gone, right? It'll all go here. It will take some time. Hopefully it doesn't take 10 years, but it will take some time. So the easiest way to understand this model, really, is to give it a go. So I do urge you, if you do get the opportunity, go to the stand and sign up. This is a really feel it kind of experience thing. And once you see how easy and simple it is to use, and it does work, which is one of the remarkable things when people look at this, they go, wow, that was fast, and it works, and it's in my network. Once you start, then you can start to open up the possibilities. Thank you very much.